Today, I'll be sharing 3 possible reasons why you're not losing fat when you feel like nothing is working no matter what you do. We'll be talking about why you might not be making any progress by trying to eat less. We'll be talking about why cardio might be causing you to gain weight. And the last one, well, they don't call it beauty sleep for nothing. By the end of this list, you'll realize the one thing that all these reasons have in common. It really does come down to one thing. To illustrate the first reason you're not losing fat, let's take a look at this scenario. We'll call this woman person number 1, just for the sake of the story. Person number 1 weighs 120 pounds, she's sedentary, and she needs 1,900 calories daily to maintain her current weight. She starts her mornings off with 2 cups of coffee with cream. She has to stop for gas on her way to work, and she decides those 2 cups of coffee at home weren't enough caffeine, so she gets a third cup of coffee with cream. When she gets to work, she discovers someone brought in her favorite. So she decides to have one little munchkin, a second one won't hurt, and she has a third and a fourth. They are just too irresistible. At least she packed something healthy for lunch. She's got a salad with 1 medium-sized avocado, 4 ounces of chicken breast, a half a cup of shredded mozzarella cheese, and 1/2 cup of Texas toast croutons. Of course, no salad is complete without ranch dressing. Oh, and counting calories in lettuce isn't something this person does. It's a busy workday seeing patients, so she gets her lunch in between while doing some documenting. And she usually packs some cashews, which she thinks is a good source of protein, not realizing they're mostly fat. Nonetheless, she gets her work done. A few more cashews here and there throughout the day while she sips on that soda, which tastes really good after those salty cashews. Well, the work week might be over, but tomorrow is a birthday party, and she's agreed to make the buffalo chicken dip, which of course she has to sample just to make sure she did all right. And sample again with a clean spoon for the second try. Today was exhausting, and the last thing she wants to do is make dinner. So it looks like it'll be a frozen pizza for tonight. She makes sure to stay within the serving size, which is 2 little slices of pizza. You can see how small they are on her plate, and they are 300 calories. And there's nothing like unwinding with a glass of red wine after a shower. It's never the intention to eat after dinner, but, well, it's just so easy when you're having fun. You might have guessed it by now, but reason number 1 you're not losing fat is that you're eating more calories than you think you are. The only way to really know how many calories you're eating is to know exactly how many calories are in the food that you're consuming and weighing and measuring your food to get a baseline of what you're actually taking in every day. Remember her from the beginning with that jar of peanut butter? What are the odds that she's actually measuring how much is going on to that apple? Now, I'm certainly not saying that you have to count your calories or that you have to do this forever. And I realize that for some people, counting calories is out of the question because of different relationships with food, different eating disordered history. So it's just a suggestion if you're really looking to get a baseline of what you've been eating. You don't know unless you actually count your calories. For me personally, I was eating about 500 more calories a day than I thought I was. When I finally started to count my calories and track exactly what I was eating, I saw that I was eating more than I needed to maintain my weight, which is why I was gaining weight. Eating foods that are ultra processed, that are low in protein and fiber and nutrients, makes it even tougher to not overeat calories because when you're not eating foods that are filling, well, you're always hungry, so you eat more. So the calories that you're getting in foods that have higher amounts of protein and fiber are going to make you feel a lot differently than calories you're getting from ultra-processed foods. For example, this shrimp and rice meal on the left has 430 calories, 14 grams of fat, and 33 grams of protein. This small bag of cheese curls on the right has 480 calories, 32 grams of fat, and 4 little grams of protein. Which one do you think you're going to be more full from eating? Snacks add up. Liquid calories add up. Eating while distracted causes you to eat more than you realize you are, especially when it's those highly processed foods that make you feel like you didn't even eat anything. You can really put away a lot of calories very quickly without realizing it. Also, if you're eating within your calorie range during the week and then you splurge on the weekends, you could end up undoing all of those efforts from the week where you were eating within your desired calorie range. In the case of person number 1, she ate 648 more calories than required to maintain her current weight. Over time, this adds up, and this is how people end up gaining 10 pounds in 1 year and saying they don't know how it happened. Do you recognize any of these habits of person number 1 in yourself or someone you know? To explain reason number 2 you're not losing fat, let's take a look at person number 2 and see if you recognize yourself in any of her habits or ways of thinking. Person number 2 has a similar day to person number 1. Except person number 2 wants to lose a few pounds, so she gets up an hour earlier every day than person number 1 so she can fit in a 30-minute jog before work. She weighs 150 pounds, and prior to starting her morning runs, she had been pretty sedentary, but was maintaining her weight by eating 2,000 calories a day. During this 30-minute jog, she burns roughly 300 calories. She heard somewhere that it's good to have protein immediately after workout so you don't lose muscle, so she has this whey shake. The rest of her workday is the same as person number 1, except at dinner, she decides to have one extra slice of pizza. These morning runs are really making her hungry and, well, she burned it off anyway. Reason number 2 for not losing fat is you're relying on cardio exercise for fat loss. Now, cardiovascular exercise is great for your health, but relying on calories burned during cardio exercise is not a good fat loss strategy. Remember, person number 2 was maintaining her weight of 150 pounds by taking in 2,000 calories a day. And even though she added on her morning jog, which burns 300 calories a day, she's still eating in excess per day. So she's not going to lose any weight. Along these lines is the statement that you can't outrun a bad diet, which is true. It's common that when people exercise, they figure they can eat more because they burned it off through that exercise. And while you do burn calories during exercise, again, it's not that much, and you can easily undo those calories burned by eating a little extra here and there throughout the day. And while the cardio is not what's making you gain weight, it's the habits and behaviors that you haven't changed. But you think you can get away with it because you worked out that day. Also, you don't need to ingest protein immediately after a workout for fear of losing muscle, especially when it's a small amount of cardio. For person number 2, this is just added calories for the day that she doesn't need. So I just want to reiterate, I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't do cardio exercise. Again, cardio is great for your health. You just shouldn't rely on it for fat loss. This is how I gained weight while training for a marathon many years ago. Is that one common theme in these reasons starting to reveal itself now? Now we take a look at person number 3, and this one's going to go pretty quick. She's gone back to school, so she's staying up late at night to study, but she still has to get up at 5 a.m. for those 30-minute runs. She goes about her day and is exhausted. All the bad foods, carbs, all the junk, processed foods is all she's hungry for. They're giving her some quick energy. She's having more snacks throughout the day than person number 1 and 2. She's drinking more soda to try to stay awake. And she just can't seem to stop feeling hungry. Losing all this sleep really makes the day a disaster for person number 3. I didn't even bother to add up the calories for person number 3. It's obvious she's overeating. Reason number 3 you're not losing fat is you're not getting enough sleep. Missing a night of sleep here and there is not a big deal, but it's the chronic sleep deprivation that causes you to gain weight because it makes you feel hungry and you eat more. Chronic sleep deprivation increases the hormone called ghrelin in your body, which is responsible for making you feel hungry. Chronic sleep deprivation also decreases the hormone called leptin, which makes you feel full. There's lots of research studies out there about this. You can find them free online. And you may have noticed when you don't get a good night's sleep, that next day you're craving all the junk and you're more likely to grab those higher fat, higher carb, high sugar processed foods, fast food. And on top of all this, sleep deprivation can cause increased cortisol levels in the blood, which is a stress hormone. Stress hormone makes you retain water, and we tend to store water weight in the same places on the body as we do fat. And this can make it appear that the body is holding onto more fat than it actually is, which for some people can be enough to completely lose all motivation to continue fat loss efforts. So they give up because they think they're destined to never lose weight. And the one thing that all these reasons have in common is, you guessed it, calories in, calories out. That's what it comes down to. If you're taking in more calories than you're expending, you're going to gain weight. Now, you might be asking, well, how many calories do I know to eat if I want to lose weight based on my current weight and my level of activity? Well, this is a topic that deserves its own video, which I will put the link to somewhere in this video when it's done. But depending on when you're watching this video, I might not have that video quite ready yet. But in the meantime, you can watch my video about how to reshape your glutes at home using no gym equipment. I'll see you in the next one.